So, Bethany, can you just start by introducing yourself and maybe
Yeah.
telling us a little bit about your background?
Yeah. So my name is Bethany. I am a product designer with 9+ years of experience and have worked in all different industries, healthcare, software, retail, e-commerce, and most recently have been working at Walmart. And that job ended after there was a relocation to Arkansas. And so I found myself in a job search.
Yeah. Did you know, by the way, that Katie and you joined basically just like few days apart, and then you guys also pinged me that you got an offer also just like literally 2 days apart or something.
Wow,
That's
that's
pretty
insane.
great. I don't remember who joined first, but basically the one that joined like 2 days before or something got the offers like 2 days before as well. I was like, whoa, this is
Yeah.
kind of weird. Like, is that how it works for all Walmart people? Maybe.
We'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, that's great. So, thinking back at the time before you joined the program, tell me a little bit about some of the challenges that you were facing before you discovered this program.
Yeah. So my main challenge was that I had a meta interview, which I really wanted to focus all my attention on. And so I really banked on this one opportunity and it went through all of the rounds, but then I didn't perform well. I had no support outside myself to understand what do I need to do differently and what do I need to improve. And I think that was the hardest part was because I thought, oh, this is the opportunity. I'm just going to put all my effort in this. But I had no idea how to improve or see what I was doing wrong. Yeah.
Like, there's
So,
no way to like optimize it or improve it because without
mhm.
feedback, we just don't know.
Yeah. And also, it's hard to encourage yourself when you're just one person. When
Yeah.
you're thinking about all, like, even just having a little bit of outside perspective is so helpful.
Okay. And so what happens then after you didn't get the meta one? Like, how far did you go anyway?
I think I basically went to the full loop, but
Mm.
at the end, I had bombed some of the questions because I just really did not know how to practice the tell me about a time question. Like, one
Those
of those,
behavioral questions. Yeah.
right? I answered it very literally. He was like, tell me your weakness. And I was like, okay. I told him all my
Congratulations.
weaknesses. And I was like, because at that point, I had scheduled those all in one day. And I was like, I think I was just emotional. And so I just answered it very point blank. And I was like, reflecting, I was like, that's definitely where I bombed it, you know? So yeah.
That's funny. All right. Actually, let's talk about that in a bit. But is that something that improved? Is that something that you've worked on specifically in this program?
Yeah, I think definitely practicing all of the tell me about a time questions, gathering all of the stories. I think being able to understand how to tell it in a very story-like way that you have suggested and also in a very succinct way was really helpful because then I could just recall specific incidents and
Yeah.
just practice those over and over anytime.
Okay.
So yeah, that was really helpful.
Yeah. And I can tell that you're such a quick learner too. I would just say something and you take like a bunch of notes. I don't know what you're writing down. It's like take a bunch of notes and then you come out really well though. You've taken that on.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah, so that was great to see as well. What would you say made you choose this program over other options? I mean, there's so many options out there, literally from anything from watching YouTube, Googling yourself to some other coaching options that might be cheaper, right? We are not the cheapest.
Yeah. I think because the program focused mostly on tech industry, which is like PM, UX, and design, I was like, okay, they understand, the coaches, etc., understand what this area is about. Whereas I had already purchased another program, which was done by solely one recruiter, and it was not live. It was like a module that I went through myself. And a lot of the information he gave was helpful, but it was too generic.
Yeah.
And he would not understand a design portion or like the product, just the whole product creating world, right?
Yeah.
So it's very specific. And I just felt like, okay, this program knows what my role does
Yeah.
and will be able to tailor like specific help for that, those types of interviews. Yeah.
Yeah. And in my research, I did see that there are a lot of high quality programs oftentimes, but if they're coming from a generalist, it's going to be
Right.
most beneficial from a general point of view.
Right.
And I think
Right.
tech, in UX or PM, like product oriented roles, there's so many subtleties and layers to it as well. What hiring managers want to see, need to see, and are looking for
Right.
specifically, how they translate those certain red flags as well. That's definitely something I remember thinking as well as I was doing the research myself. We touched already on that a little bit, but what
Mhm.
specific problems would you say did the program help you solve?
Yeah, I think definitely practicing the tell me about a time scenarios. I
Mhm.
think that definitely helped improve. And then I think specifically like the first job worksheet, like the first meeting we had
Oh
and the
yeah.
document that was resulted from that. I think
Yes.
that was really helpful because just like your input about, okay, I see you, this is important to you in a job, or like this is
Mhm.
important to you. Where it's like when you are yourself, it's very hard to see that. And
Totally.
so I think pointing that out, I was like, yeah, maybe I should think about that when I'm looking for another job, you know? So I think that was really helpful. And then also Coach Neil's working with him about stories. That really helps boost confidence because when you're going through your everyday, you just think that it's very normal. And so for him to be able to say, okay, let's write it out in a way where it's like, this is what I accomplished. This was the problem. You helped solve that. And I was like, I guess I did, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
I think, at least for me personally, hard to recognize or say out loud. I think it's hard to recognize wins or even talk about that in a not natural way.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that being part of this program has impacted your confidence or mindset in any way?
It has definitely helped with confidence. I think just even seeing like the thread of everybody else who's going through the same thing. You know, like, okay,
Yeah.
we are all experiencing similar situations. We're all trying to figure it out. And just having some like a support group camaraderie is very helpful. It's just
So,
very helpful because when you're going through a job search alone, you just feel like it's all on you and you have to figure it out yourself. And that's like just a lot to carry, but also like then interview and do it.
yeah, exactly. In
Yeah,
addition to everything else that's going on with the
right,
jobs as well. I think it also helps to see the caliber as well in the program and then realize, oh, okay, if they are looking, then there's
yeah,
nothing bad about me looking. If they get
right,
rejected, there's nothing bad about me getting rejected. We're all
right.
improving, we're all learning.
Right, right. Yeah. And seeing that, yeah, I think that's definitely helpful because like everybody else, I mean, I can see like, oh, people are interviewing at Meta, they're interviewing at
Yeah.
whatever. It's like a same, like similar tech group. Like, you
Right.
know, we understand this industry and everybody is smart and very accomplished. And so I think that sort of gives a lot of comfort that like, okay, we're trying to figure this out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. What's something that's been surprising to you or a surprise change that you might have experienced during the time in the program?
I think maybe for good or for bad, the surprise to me was I didn't understand the economic industry of job hiring until I joined the program and I was like, okay, it's a very slow season for 2025, you
Uh,
know? And I
seasonality.
did because 2 years ago I had gone through the same thing, job searching, and it took me like a month, right? And so I
Yeah,
had no frame of reference to understand what am I entering right now.
yeah,
And so being in the program and seeing like, okay, different people have been in different lengths and we're all experiencing this and it's taking longer, helped
yeah,
me then level set real expectations of like, okay, well, how long will this take? And actually, Karen, when she posted, this is how many jobs I applied to, this is how many interviews I did, this is how
yeah,
long it took me. I was like, okay, those stats are so helpful,
yeah.
you know, because you don't know what you're getting into. And then hearing some things from other people, it just level sets like your expectation for the future.
No,
Yeah,
totally. I might actually encourage people to share more of their own stats. I think that's really helpful because I know them, but we don't share them as such, maybe. Yeah, maybe we should have a
right.
session where we just share all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. What do you like about the program and what do you not like about the program? What are some of the
I
things that you like? Even things that you learn, but also maybe the modality of like how to get support and things like that. What would you say are some of the things you like and some of the things you don't like as much?
Yeah, I think I like the ability to have structured but free conversation in
Yeah.
our coaching calls because people bring up very relevant situations. And those just really help other people be able to talk about what they need. And also the feed is really helpful because people are just sharing just tidbits about what they're experiencing. It's like gathering more information, what other people are experiencing. I think the platform format is actually very good because people are able to comment and then respond. That's
Yeah.
actually really helpful.
And you're actually one of the few folks there that are pretty active in like DMing me as well. No, not in a negative way. Because you also just DM when it's actually relevant, when I can see why it needs to be a DM and not a community
Yeah.
question, you know. I saw that you leverage both, right? But I definitely saw that you were also making more use of the DM for certain topics that are more personal or that are more specific. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that having a DM channel for different coaches or for you and Megan is really helpful when it's like a personal, emotional kind of question.
So,
That was really helpful, personal one-on-one conversation that came in a very timely manner that
yeah.
helped in the moment. I think that that was really helpful. It's basically being able to like message back and forth is really helpful, like more personalized.
And that's exactly what you were trying to find as well, right? To avoid that situation where you just sit there on your own and pull out all your hair to wonder what's going on. You should do.
Yeah, I think that was really helpful. And I mean, what surprised me was like things that you would share that I have no idea about, things like this is what recruiters think, or this is what the hiring manager is like trying to understand.
Yeah.
Um, like just all the other side of the hiring positioning, because I think the programs that I've done in the past are recruiters and then those who are interviewing, and that's only one side.
Yeah.
But the input that you had about like the other side is really helpful because it's like, oh, okay, now I understand, or
Yeah.
even the negotiation part, I think money can feel so personal to you when you're asking for it, but in general, as a company, they don't care that much and like they're just trying to make it work out. So all
Yeah.
of that information was really helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. Let's fast forward a little bit. How do you feel about your life now compared to before you joined the program?
Yeah, I've been reflecting on that a lot. I think I realized like when I first started, I just felt like I don't know what to do other than just apply. I
Mm,
literally don't know what to do until I wait for a job to come. And that to me just had no end in sight. It just felt really daunting and heavy.
totally.
And I think like after joining the program, I already had like 50% of that load taken off
Yeah.
because I was like, okay, I have a path forward.
Totally. Yeah.
I have some type of solution. And
Yeah.
so going through the program and now a new role, I'm like, okay, the job search has ended, which is what I wanted the outcome to be in the
Yeah.
beginning. I don't want to be in this state anymore. Just being able to finish that and move forward gives me a lot more peace. Like, it's not like, okay, I've reached perfection, but it's like, okay, I have a way to continue to move forward. So,
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
Tell us about the role that you're going to join.
Okay, so the role I actually am very excited about. So it's creating AI tools for the customer care experts at T-Mobile. And I am excited about that because it's an area that I've never done before. And so it's something new that I can learn. And I'm excited about that. And I am excited about the company and the location. And
Yeah,
that could
it's
be that,
important, especially if
yeah,
you're
those
a
are
young
all.
child. It's very important.
Yeah, and it's a hybrid role, so that is
Right.
great. And then there are also ex-Walmart colleagues there already. And so I'm
Amazing.
like, okay, great. So I am excited about that role.
And you know,
Yeah.
right now it's really, really hard to get hired into a role doing something that you haven't already done for decades. You have done design for almost a decade,
Right.
not in this specific area, right? And right now, to
Right.
be able to make that case, to be able to go through the process and for them to have that trust in you and think, you know what, Bethany is a great designer. And even though she hasn't done the same thing in that very niche, she's going to be able to do it is very rare right now. And so
Yeah.
definitely be really proud of yourself. It is a huge achievement. And
Yeah.
in 9.5 weeks, that's,
Yeah.
you know how
Yeah.
long people take right now, right? 12 months, 12 to 15
Right.
months. That's how long it takes people right now.
Yeah, I think that that was also a very shocking stat.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes people don't believe it. And then they start thinking about like people they know. They're like, oh, Actually, I do have a colleague. I just spoke to him yesterday, and he's been searching for 8 months, and there's still no end in sight. So I guess it could be true. But and the thing is, like, you don't want to just wait and wing it and then find out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not a
Right.
risk that I would personally take.
Yeah, yeah, that's the difference too, is like I have a Slack channel with my previous team, and seeing that stat was also something that I was like, okay, it's good to have this job,
Yeah,
because only
totally.
one of my previous colleagues has gotten a job out of at least 10 to 15 of us. And to me, I'm like, how is that even possible?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everybody's highly qualified. And so exactly what you're saying about the 12 to 15 months, you don't think that it's real until you play it out.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a great segue actually into my next question. So, what advice would you give someone who is considering joining this program? They're really interested, but you might have been in that situation too, right? In terms of like, yeah, it all sounds like it makes sense and it probably could help me, but I'm still kind of on the fence. What
Right.
advice would you give this person?
I would say like it's much harder to just try to do it by yourself. It's way harder. There's just no way that you would be able to figure out all of the details that need to be figured out while you're going through the process. And it's also very hard to know whether you're interviewing well or not without any feedback.
Right.
There's no way. And also, I think that the techniques are much more helpful than just going to a job portal and just blindly trying to interview and
Yeah.
hope for the best. Going through the program gives you an advantage of like, okay, what do I have in my power to do? And it gives you a lot of tools to be able to say, like, okay, try this, try this, try this, continue this, and like you'll have momentum. Whereas on the other side, like there's no other tools than just applying to job portals and like hoping you'll hear back. Having some sort of momentum forward basically generates more opportunity. And by doing that, you have more advantage to be able to say, okay, like more opportunity to be able to interview. And that's what you want, right?
Do you remember some of the hesitations that you had before you joined the program and what were they and how did you overcome them?
Yeah. So one of the hesitations I had was like the cost for me
Yeah,
personally. I was
really.
hesitant because I've never paid this much for a program before because it was tech focused and because he was like, I think that we would be able to find you like something within like 3 to 6 months. That to me already gave me so much confidence that I was like, how can he say that? You know? He's like, would you be willing to work remote? I was like, yeah. And he was like, I think you could get a job in 3 to 6 months. Like that already to me gave me so much confidence. I was like, how can he know that or say
Yeah.
that? And also because the conversation was like, you have to make a decision now.
Right.
I think at that point I was like, okay, I don't have any other options except myself. And I've tried other programs and they were like semi-helpful, but so general that they're not helping in this season. And I need something that's going to help me in this season. So I think all of those things helped me say, like, okay, I have enough to be able to pay for this program. If it does work out that like I'm able to find a job within 3 to 6 months, then I would already be able to save this much from my severance. I would be able to move forward.
The cost of dragging it out is so much. It's so, so much higher. Because and I
Yes.
always do that calculation with people too, but sometimes it resonates, sometimes it doesn't. But
Yeah.
especially if you're in between jobs. And I think at the time when you spoke to us, you were still in your job, right? I think it hasn't even finished yet. But
Yeah.
for some folks, they are literally in between jobs already for months and months. And so they're bleeding time and money every single month,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And even if they are like at a total package of 200, let's say, that's like 16K that's they're bleeding every single month, you know? And so I'm like, let's just plug that leak. And I can't guarantee it, but what I can guarantee is that you're just going to be better off with us than without. Like that, I
Right.
can definitely guarantee.
Right. Definitely. Yeah,
Mm.
those are my main hesitations, but I
Yeah.
think definitely it was helpful and worthwhile.
Do you think were there any doubts in terms of like, what if it doesn't work out? What if I don't get the job by the end of the
Yeah, I think I had doubts when I had failed some interviews.
Mm.
But I think seeing other people saying like, I got the job. I was like, okay, well, other people are getting jobs. And I was getting interviews. And that to me was like,
Yes.
okay, some things like working already. Because I had a few overlapping here and there, because I was interviewing, I was like, okay, this is working. And at some point, somebody has to offer me something, you know? And I think in one of your teaching modules, you were saying, like, basically think about like a room full of like hundreds of people, and one person has a card that says yes. Just go find that person. I was like, okay, then let me just interview as many times as possible, find connections, find past colleagues to interview with, etc. And at some point, I'll get an interview that turns into an offer.
You just have to get all those people with the no in their hand out of the way and find that person who's like hiding the yes.
Yeah,
There are
yeah,
like ways of doing it. You can like tap on every single one's shoulder. You can just jump on stage and scream it out loud. That would be the equivalent to like people establishing kind of authority and self-brand a bit stronger online. But it's not everyone's thing, you know. And so for others,
right.
you just get very efficient at interviewing at many companies and eliminate the ones that are not a good fit out so that you can stop thinking about them.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that was helpful too, because after my meta interview, I was like crushed and I was like, that was my only opportunity. That's how I felt. Like that was it. And didn't get the job that I interviewed for. But I think after interviewing many times, it still was hard. But I was like, okay, but I just need to open a few more doors. And I think that mentality was really helpful. Like, okay, just apply to a few more and then just interview at more companies. That helps get rid of the crushing blow of not getting the job that you interviewed for.
No, totally. It is a lot of mindset. Like you need to reframe it and understand what this game is about, right? One, it's almost a little bit naive to wait for like an opportunity to knock on your door, first of all. So there's still a little bit of hope that maybe someone reaches out. And it's not just naive, it's not really our fault. It's more sort of like because the market has been so strong in the past. It was so strong for over 10 years. You just need to be even okay at your job to be tapped by recruiters all the time, let alone if you're actually pretty good at what you do and
Right. Right.
save yourself literally. And so coming into this market is just a whole new different experience for most folks, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think that even my current past colleagues are surprised. Even my Walmart colleagues who are still at Walmart are like, I just don't want to get fired. They basically are just like holding on to their job, even if they don't really love it. They're like, I'm too afraid to go out into a market that seems very.
Very volatile, yeah. Bethany, I just want to say thank you so much for being an amazing person. You're such an amazing client, but also such an amazing person to work.
Thank
And,
you for your time, Q.
and I always say my best clients are obviously the ones that leave.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And so I'm going to miss all of you guys. But thank you for being such an amazing person, asking amazing questions and really absorbing and open yourself up to all these new learnings as well. I think you are one of the few that literally came in and I took advantage and check out everything that is available to you. You look at the courses. Many people have been on the program for months and still haven't checked it out, for example, even after us like nudging and nudging, right? And so you've checked that out immediately. You did all the optimization and improvements we asked you to do. You interviewed, you stayed strong, you stayed resilient, you got an offer after 9.5 weeks. Like amazing. Also do all that in a very gentle and non-aggressive way, honestly. I'm just really proud of you.
Thank you for your support, Q. It made a bunch of difference. It really helped entirely be able to change the job search. I definitely would not have been able to do it on my own. Thank you for creating the program.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you would have. It probably would have just taken longer and
So
probably
long.
a few more walls to bang your head on. But
Yeah.
eventually, I'm sure you would have gotten there as well. And that's
Yeah.
the thing with most folks. In very rare cases, do I actually tell them, like, you will never be able to do it on your own. It's really just a matter of like for your specific goal, whatever that is. For some people, it might be like within a certain time or with a certain company or at a certain compensation or with a certain work-life balance or whatever that specific goal is. For that, they might not be able to do it on their own. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Definitely, if you haven't done so, I don't think you have, but definitely share it with the group as well. They're going to be
Yeah.
so for you so they can celebrate you so that whoever is going through an interview now and may not make it see that you get in job good job.
It's possible. Yeah.